I'm joined now for a special conversation by Tim Miller. He was an advisor to Jeb Bush's 2016 campaign and has written about the impact of this Buttigieg candidacy. He wrote an article called The Kiss. And we're joined by Charles Kaiser, director of Hunter College's LGBTQ Public Policy Center. Good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Ari. Nice to be here.
Hey, Ari.
Great to have you. Tim, what does it mean to you? Walk us through some of that history we just showed and what you were doing in your life and campaigning and what this means to you.
Yeah, I didn't know that intro was coming. You're getting me verklempt here, Ari. I was actually working for John McCain when he said that clip that you just played. I was working for him in Iowa. I was his communications director. I was in the closet at the time. And, I was compartmentalizing the things I liked about him and the things that obviously I wasn't ready to deal with in my own life. Same with Pete Buttigieg, by the way. He was in the closet at that time, too. That's only a decade ago now, Ari. You played Barack Obama in 2008. He gave a really moving speech when I was working for John McCain about hope and change, about yes, we can. But gay marriage wasn't part of that. Gay marriage wasn't a hope that people had in 2008. And so to think about this, Ari, in 2008, both candidates were opposed to gay marriage. Same in 2012. Obama changed in 2013. In 2012, a friend of mine worked in South Carolina, was fired for being gay. That was only 6 years ago. Pete was in the closet at the time. Within 2 cycles of that now, for him to be winning the Iowa caucus, essentially tied for a victory in the Iowa caucus, I think that it's astounding that we haven't focused on it more. I appreciate you having this segment, and I just say that you're right. Yes, that part of the reason is because that's how we live now, but it's where we live now in certain parts of the country, and I know that after I wrote that article, I heard from probably a half dozen closeted gay young men and women throughout the country for whom their family, their communities haven't quite turned the corner, and for who this really resonated with them. And I know that Pete's heard from those people as well, and I think it's important that we recognize that in our bubbles.
How did you feel? You mentioned that obviously the choice for someone in your position, as I understand it, obviously educate me more if I'm off, would be that for many parties, many candidates at that time, the choice was work and not make an issue of it, or don't have that job. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it was bad or worse. I don't want to whitewash it. I mean, obviously the Republican Party was worse on this than the Democratic Party was, but on balance, on gay marriage and ask, don't tell, the views were the same. And so, a lot of times I think gay people in both sides of those campaigns had to hide that part of ourselves. I mean, I don't, it was something where you had to, every job I took after 2008, after I came out of the closet, it was something I had to bring up in the interview and say, hey, I'm openly gay. If I'm going to be your spokesperson, some people are going to criticize you for that. And if that's a problem with you, no worries. I'll just try to go find a different job. But, that's something that other people didn't have to go through. I think that the fact that those kind of conversations, the conversations like I mentioned about, the friend of mine who I had to walk through and help him after he got literally fired from his job, which is still legal now, by the way. You can be fired for your job for being gay in a lot of states, including Indiana. That's tough. Emotionally trying to compartmentalize that is hard. Looking to people who are role models for how to deal with that, there aren't that many. And so, for all the people that are still experiencing that, having Pete and Chasten out there makes just, I think, a much bigger difference than maybe people realize, in the New York, D.C., California world. I'm
going to get Charles in here, but then is it fair to say, do you feel inspired by Pete? Yeah. You happen to be having worked on Republican campaigns, but you feel inspired by Pete?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't expect to be kind of Ari, and I'm not giving anybody a Republican's kiss of death endorsement in this primary. I'm not saying I'm supportive of him, but I certainly am inspired by him. And when I wrote that article, it kind of came to me out of the blue. I was on my Instagram feed, kind of going through stories, and I came across a friend of mine who's a reporter covering Pete, who showed an image of him and Chasten kissing. It was at his announcement speech. And I found myself getting really emotional thinking about it. And I texted to some friends who felt the same way. I thought, man, that is just, unbelievable that somebody who obviously Chasten's gone through issues in his life. Pete certainly came out late. This is not something that was comfortable for him. You knew in that moment that they had to be self-conscious of this, that they were doing something that a straight candidate doesn't even think about. Kisses their wife at the end of the speech, moves on. Kisses their husband at the end of the speech, moves on. For Pete and Chasten, you knew that that was kind of hanging over them. You can almost, I don't know, right now I can feel their kind of sweat and nervousness about that, because that's something that gay people have to go through all the time is will this PDA be accepted? And he had to do it on the brightest stage and overcome that while also running for president.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.